What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. I'm super excited. I've got a very cool guest. So sit back, relax, get your coffee, get your drink, whatever it is you're doing, what time of the day. My next guest is he's originally from Argentina. He lives in New Zealand now. He is a well-being leader, international speaker, event and podcast host, holistic coach and practitioner, co-founder of Conscious Action, and You, being you, helps people discover a conscious way of living and how to have a positive impact in the world. Please welcome Brian Berneman. Brian, yay! Yes. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Thank you. Me too. It's so exciting to be here with you. Thank you for sharing this space with me.
Oh my gosh. No, you know what? Like I said, before we start recording, our views and I think that our beliefs are aligned. And so I'm all about well-being. I think that is very important. And I think that more and more people are starting to wake up to the idea of focusing on their well-being, whatever, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So why don't you tell us a little bit, like, what got you into being this well-being leader and doing all these positive things that you're doing in the world?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. I think, I am really privileged and really fortunate that my parents are the ones that started this journey when I was a kid. And by the time that I was a teenager, I was soaking all of this that my parents were doing. They were going to, meditation classes, yoga classes, learning about Buddhism, reading all of these amazing books. And little by little, I started to get into all of that. And I started to get into healing, and I started to practice more Tibetan Buddhism. And I got reacquainted with my body, which when I was a kid and a teenager, I was super disconnected from my feelings and my body. And I started to get into this, and I'm like, wow, this is a whole new world. Sure. And I found my thing in the world, let's say, as I was a regular kid, into sports, into all of these things, I couldn't find my place. Yeah. And then I started to find what some might call spirituality or well-being. And I started to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I started to practice more, and I started to learn different techniques of healing. I started to learn Tibetan Buddhism, Tibetan yoga, meditation. And at one point I decided, I am ready to make a big change. And I went to California to live in a Tibetan Buddhist retreat center in the middle of the mountain for a few years to go deeper into the practice of understanding myself, understanding the teachings. And ever since then, I've been just sharing. I love this. I know the power of all of these different tools that are there for us to connect. And as you said, like, well-being is something that a lot of people are starting to wake up to the importance of it. Businesses, governments, everyone, like, mental health is such a big issue now, and there's so much disconnect. And I think that this has been a time of kicking us a little bit in the ass and saying, like, hey, wake up, like, take care of yourself.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So tell us about what that was like in the mountains. That had to be quite the experience. What was that like?
That was amazing. That really was a chance for me to really go deep and to be able to experience for the first time in my life connection to nature, because I was living in the middle of mountain. There was nothing except nature all around. And I grew up in Buenos Aires. Then I lived in New York, and Miami, and Berlin, all big cities, concrete cities. So I didn't have that connection to nature, as well as that time to really explore myself, to every single day have my practice and have my work practice without having to worry about anything else. So there was someone else in the community there that was cooking, that was, buying things. I had to just do my thing, my part. And that really allowed me, in those years that I lived there, it really allowed me to understand my own inner experience, my interconnectedness with things. And it really allowed me to explore how as well to understand things so that I can share them, because that's a big part now of what I do. And that time over there really enabled me to do that, and really enabled me to understand, once I came back to society, how to really incorporate these teachings and put them in practice for everyday life. And as well, my postgrad has been in neuroscience, and that as well is another lens to be able to connect with people and to share and to speak people's language, because that's a big thing.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, so powerful and life-changing, right?
Yes.
And so when you work with someone, what does that look like as a holistic coach when they want, or what would be your ideal client? I guess that would be a better question.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of different people, and what I work with is being able to find where they are and how they want to continue moving forward. So with everyone that I work with is different.
Yeah.
I mostly work, when I work one-on-one, mostly work with someone that is on their either late 30s or like in their 40s, that they are realizing that there's something missing in terms of balance in their life. So whether that is relationship or work, or whether that is in how they feel fulfilled, we work with all of those elements to figure out what are the blockages that they have, what are the beliefs that they have, what are the things that come from before them as well. I work a lot with ancestral trauma and childhood trauma, and to be able to come back to this present moment and decide how do they want to move forward. And my role always is to empower them. I always say, like, I'm there for them. I don't do the work. They need to do the work. So my clients are someone that needs to be ready to change their life, to take radical self-responsibility and to say, I want to change because this, as I'm living now, is not serving me and the way that I want to live, and how do I want to move forward. And they perhaps are not able to do it alone, because we're not meant to do things alone. So just being able to move forward from there.
Today's episode is brought to you by Honeylove. Ladies, let's talk about shapewear. We all know most shapewear makes you feel like you're being suffocated. That sexy dress in the back of your closet is so freaking cute, but the thought of having your inside squished by your shapewear is just not worth it. That's why Honeylove spent years researching and developing effective shapewear that's actually comfortable. Overly tight, cheap, and sticky fabrics that roll up are a thing of the past. Thanks to Honeylove, you can finally feel confident and comfortable in your favorite outfits. We have an exclusive deal for our listeners. For a limited time only, you can get Honeylove's best deal they offer. Get 20% off your entire order with the code LABELFREE20 at honeylove.com. That's right, ladies. Get 20% off of your entire order with LABELFREE20 at honeylove.com. Yeah, and I think that we have to get out of our own way sometimes to really connect with what's going on inside of us, to give us ourselves that space to grow and to find out where we're unbalanced. I really believe in having, like, I call all your tiers in life, your family, finances, your health, all those things have to be balanced. Some days it's going to be out of balance, right? But those are the days that you apply whatever, like you teach or whatever someone else, like they do, to apply those things to make sure that you start balancing things back out so that you can stay within that harmony. And so like, I really believe in peace and joy, just trying not to like let anything ruffle my feathers, because, that's where a lot, your well-being really stems from, is just allowing yourself to sit in your own peace. So
yes, definitely. And there's, as you're saying, that when people connect to themselves and when people start to see their life from that holistic way, whether they want to do it as tiers or however they want to look at it, they find that there is something that is out of balance. And then starting to put the pieces back together, because in a sense, all of our life is one. There's no such thing as work life and like then other life and then friends life. There's only one life, which is all in the present moment. So it's about understanding that all of those elements have an impact on our overall life, and we have an impact on how we show up to all of those areas in our lives.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that we need to show up the same every single time. Like, I am not showing up the same when I'm talking to you now than when I'm with a friend. It's a very different approach of how I'm showing up. That doesn't change who I am, like my essence, but it changes the way that I am showing up and I am responding to what's in front of me. So when all of like my clients, we work on all of these different ways to understand as well. And I think this is key, that we have these parallel views and perspectives at the same time. And one, I always say, like, we are already whole, we are already perfect. And yet at the same time, we are not there yet.
Yeah.
Both are true. So how can we return to that wholeness? How can we return to the understanding that we are already there, and all that we need to do is get out of our own way? And in the teachings of the Buddhist teachings, it's about taking off the veils that are in the way, preventing us from seeing our true nature.
Taking off the labels.
Yes, to get out of the labels. And this is one of the things why when I saw like the podcast, I was like, label free. I love this because one of the biggest things that I have gone through and that I shared with a lot of people is getting away from labels, because labels a lot of times are what's in the way. When I have a feeling, for example, am I going to label that, or am I going to be able to feel it? And that is one of the key things. If I label it, I stop experiencing it, because I'm just going into my head and into a recognition of something that I already have a pattern of understanding and energy. Whereas if I allow myself to feel it, wow, that changes. And when I put myself into, like different labels, and I know that for interacting with people, I need to say, okay, this is my name, Brian, that's a label, or this is what I do, that's a label. Yeah. Yet when I allow myself to be without those labels, or outside of them as well, I can be anything that I want at any single moment. And that's so freeing.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the whole like basis around why I created the podcast, was because of those negative labels that hold us back and like prevent us from really stepping into our true power, into our voice, into who are living a life, living our own legacy, or living in fulfillment. And I think that, there's so many people out there struggling with that. And I think that we saw a lot of that throughout the pandemic, where people started shifting like where they were in their life and starting to prioritize things a little bit differently. So I think that was very powerful to help them wake up to those, to finding what fulfills them.
Yes, definitely. And it takes, for a lot of people, and I think that this is true. For most people, they wait until they hit rock bottom, or there's something as a pandemic to get them to question their life, to question the way that they are living. And what I try to invite everyone all of the time is not to wait until that moment, not wait until we hit rock bottom to realize, well, this is not serving me, or this behavior, or this approach, or whatever it is in our lives, that's not serving me. So why not changing it now, instead of allowing it to take us completely down to get to that place of hitting rock bottom?
Yeah, very true. Very, very, very true. So when someone says, okay, I want to work with you, do you have like a set amount of time, a minimum amount of time that they have to commit to you, or what does that look like in your coaching with or working with someone?
Yeah, my ideal usually is to work for 3 months, like once a week. It's enough time to understand where are those blockages, what are the parts that we need to work with, to be able to start to create the new patterns and the new habit changes. Because when I work with someone in the past just one time, it's not enough. It's like the people revert back to their normal patterns. Even though we start to change the energy, that energy has a pull and takes us back. So when I can work with someone like individually for 3 months, that's great. When I work with businesses, I usually try to work 6 months or an entire year to be able to do that. And as well, I work every once in a while with single sessions, especially for like specific healings. But trying to make sure that as well, there's a certain commitment to creating the change.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think that you can create some change maybe in like one session, but I think that someone, in order to really make lasting change, because it's almost like leading a healthy lifestyle, right? Is creating that change within yourself for your well-being, for, a higher consciousness, or you being you, whatever that looks like for them, what you embody it takes a little bit of time. And I think sometimes, in our society, people just they want a quick fix. They want something to happen overnight. And, something that was told to me a long, long time ago from my late husband, he used to say, nothing good comes easy. He used to say it to me over and over and over again. And I tell you, that's been burned in my head since then. And that's really true, that nothing good comes easy. If you want something quick, like fad diets, you lose a ton of weight, but you're going to put on double what you lost because you just did something that totally messed up your body, probably messed up your thyroid, and you're not creating long-lasting change in your life that's going to create a good, healthy lifestyle. So yeah, I think that's so important. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Yeah, they can find me online, Conscious Action NZ of New Zealand, whether that is on social media, online, or under my name, Brian Berneman, as well. I am much more active on Conscious Action. And I think that just one thing that I want to say from what you just mentioned at the very end, that I think that it's important. And thank you for sharing that. Not everything is going to be easy, yet it can be easy if we allow it. So a lot of times we have as well this belief that we need to work hard on something. And even though perhaps we need to work on it, it can be easy to work on that.
Yeah, very true. Yep. Well, I mean, embrace the change, right? Or be the change, embrace it. I think that for me personally, what I've learned over the years is that it's in our darkest hour that we experience the greatest growth, and that's just like, it's important to know that no matter what you're going through, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And if you want to continue to see that light in your life all around you all the time, you have to make real solid changes in your life and in your behavior and all that good stuff. So we're getting close here on time, Brian. What would be some last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave with the audience?
Thank you for that. Let's see what's coming through now. So what's coming through at this moment is to stop and slow down and take a deep breath and connect. That is the biggest thing that can create a change. And once we do that, we can see which direction we want to take. And for all of us, and this is why, like for me, it's so important to take conscious action and for us to find who we are, is about being yourself, not following anybody else. Go in, take time to stop, go in and see, what do you want to be? Who you are and how do you want to show up in your life, and bringing your gifts, because we all have our unique gifts that we're bringing into life. And when we are trying to be normal, when we are trying to be like others, that's preventing us and the rest of the people from seeing and receiving your own medicine. So yes.
Very good. I love it. That was beautiful. Really quick, tell us about your podcast. What is it called?
Yes, the Conscious Action podcast, where I have conversations with a lot of amazing people all around the world and sharing topics all around conscious living, whether that is well-being, spirituality, sustainability, ethical practices, all of that.
Awesome. Well, you guys, I'm going to put all of Brian's links in the show notes. So don't hesitate to go check him out. Go check out his podcast, follow him, listen to him, and reach out if you have connected with what he shared with us today. Don't hesitate, because he's obviously a very lovely person, and be happy to just talk to you and see if it's a good fit. So Brian, thank you for all your wonderful words of wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to watch and see where you go with all these incredible positive changes you're making into the world, because we desperately need it.
Thank you. Thank you for creating this space as well. And thank you for everything that you're sharing and all of the other episodes that I've listened. And as well, like, keep on doing that, because as I said, you just be you and keep on sharing that gift.
That's right. I don't know how to be anybody else but myself. All right, Brian, thank you so much. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.